Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Uh, I'm good. Thanks for asking. All right, so today I will be talking about sharing your faith through sharing your passion. Um, it's an interesting topic that I thought would be nice to talk about. So, yeah, so I'll just go straight into it. Um, let's see if this works. Yes, it does. So, I just want to raise a raise of hands. And who thinks witnessing or I sharing your faith and witnessing is it's the same thing for me? So I'm gonna say either or. But who thinks it's difficult to share your faith to other people? Can I get a raise of hands? Pretty much all the, the young people, or some other people too. Um, but I guess who desires to share their faith, or like who has this desire to kind of share to other people what they who they are. So great. So I'm sharing the right message. um, and yeah, so I think I think if someone's been really impacted by their own faith, they would naturally want to share something about it. So I can see why everybody's hands are raised. And so yeah, so that's what I'm going to be talking about is what kind of heart we should have through sharing our own faith, and also um, what is the purpose behind it. Because everybody has different concepts about what it means to share faith. Some people just think it's for the numbers to increase community, or some people think it might be, um, I don't know, something else. Um, but there is a purpose behind it. So I'm going to share a little bit from Father Moon's words on sharing faith, or what is witnessing in general. So here's a quote. It says, "I tell you to go out and witness, but what is witnessing? It is showing the way, it is showing you how to return to God for the sake of the world. So how great is that?" So this is from the book called Way of the Spiritual Leader, and there's a whole section about witnessing, and it's a good way to read if you want to be interested in sharing your faith. So it's interesting because witnessing, it's always about talking to the other person about what faith is. But here in this quote, it says, "It's showing the way. It's showing how it's showing you how to return to God. It's showing how you yourself is returning to God. It doesn't say about the other person or whatever. It's mainly about you." So yeah, and so I think when it comes to witnessing, I think faith is a really important concept that you should really understand deeply, personally to yourself, before you share your faith. Um, and so, yeah, which brings me to my next point. There we go. So, leading your own faith is the foundation to sharing your faith. Um, because when you want to learn something, or when you want to share or teach someone about something, you have to know what it's about first. So you kind of have to ask yourself these questions, like, why do you personally follow your faith? You can say, oh, because my parents made me, or someone invited me, so I went, and I just go along. But you kind of have to challenge yourself and go deeper. Like, why do you personally follow your own faith? And how has faith shaped your life? And there are so many other questions we can ask ourselves about faith and how it's impacted yourself. And so, yeah, and the great thing about life is that you can always grow and learn from new perspectives. So, like, you can join other organizations or other things to kind of learn about who you are in terms of the perspective of faith. Um, and so, yeah, and the most important thing is that you have to be honest with yourself. And I feel like being honest is the best way to learn and grow to your own faith, but also everything else. And it can be even in the terms of, challenging yourself, challenging other people about these questions that might come up. and it might be like negative concepts that you have about the movement, or like, this person treated me wrong and how do I deal with that and all that stuff. And sometimes there can be challenging moments in your faith where you're on your lowest of the lows, or like someone has hurt you in your faith group or whoever it is. um, but I think instead of just pushing that behind and just like, oh, this guy hurt me, what the heck is wrong with this guy? But rather than thinking like that, it's better to think, why did this happen? Like, what was the reason behind it? And like, kind of deepen yourself with these kind of emotions that you feel. And it's always good to be honest with yourself and challenge yourself with these kind of questions. And so, yeah. And what I noticed throughout my life is that faith isn't just words where people share and share about these words of like, you know, this is the faith and you have to follow it kind of thing. But you really have to practice it within your own life, whether it's through your own like daily activities, like school activities, or I guess witnessing activities and things like that. You really have to practice what you learn throughout your life. And I think that's what real faith is. Real faith is pretty much faith plus practicing it in your lifestyle. And that's what real faith is, pretty much. And so last week Friday, I was at a dinner, and Reverend Jackson and Reverend Abernathy was there during the dinner. And they had this, they mentioned this thing about framing the divine principle, like putting it into like a wall and like a museum, and just instead of just like, I don't know, fully directly sharing the word, it's best to frame it onto the wall. And I really agree with this point of like, we should put the divine principle in the past kind of thing. But what I interpreted that was, learning how to live the divine principle and showing it through your lifestyle. And that's how you can naturally teach someone how to live in a principled lifestyle, or like a way where people feel more happy or more joy through the divine principle. And yeah, I thought this was an interesting quote, or this wasn't the exact quotes. That's what I thought I heard. And so, yeah, and I think if you are able to practice faith through your own lifestyle, then that means you personally understand the faith. You personally understand what it means to practice your own faith and know what it means to live a life of faith. So, yeah. But anyways, I thought that was a review before kind of learning how to share your faith. And this is pretty much an important foundation to be able to learn and understand how you can share your faith. And so, yeah, moving on. So the second point, I feel like this is going to be a really short sermon. So don't worry, get to leave faster. Just kidding. Okay, second point I wanted to share was how can we share our faith through our lifestyle, through your own lifestyle. And I think it's very simple, actually. And if you can proudly share your faith to somebody, then that is already showing so much to that person, because they feel, if I was the other person receiving the faith or whatever, and they were so confident about it, it really shows that this guy is really confident about knowing something, and I feel like they have something to show for me. And so you have to be confident in your own faith. And sometimes it can be difficult because faith is in this world right now, it's not as popular as pop culture and all that other stuff. So sometimes it can be hard to share your faith. But I think as long as you are confident in who you are, not just faith in general, but confidence in who you are in terms of like your character and understanding yourself, then naturally you kind of share and witness your faith to other people. But the main thing is that you teach through your actions. So pretty much the words are in yourself. When you practice the faith in your lifestyle, then you naturally teach, like I said before, you naturally teach the the principles that you've learned throughout your life to that other person because of how you're treating that person and things like that. And I feel like in terms of action, you leave more of a legacy of love rather than just teaching the word. So yeah, if like people remember someone if they've done something for them, or like if they've been treated so nicely or so kindly by that person, they would remember something in a much more longer term than being lectured about something. I guess, for example, when I go to university, the lectures don't get to me. I don't get the lectures until I do my homework. So when I actually practice and like apply those things that I learned through my lectures, then that's when I actually remember it longer. And that's the same thing in terms of treating somebody or treating in terms of leading your faith with your lifestyle. If you show somebody who you are by like being kind to them or practicing love towards that person, then they will remember that more rather than being told something, I guess. But although sharing the word is important, it's kind of like they still need it in terms of practicing it. Like maybe they might remember like, oh, this person taught me this. Oh, I remember that now because I see it in that person. And so, yeah, we have the potential to offer something that is missing in this world. And I believe that within this movement, there's something that we can really offer to this world. And it's something that people don't really receive much in their life. And I feel like that's what I've realized throughout my time experiencing on taking care of people in CARP DMV, but also in Czech Republic. And so, yeah. Anyways, I guess to share my experience in CARP DMV. So I was in CARP for 2 years in Maryland. And so the picture down there is like a 7-day workshop that we hosted. And this was like a brother's night. So we had a bunch of donuts and ramen, and I don't know what else we did. I think we threw eggs at each other. But it's interesting because the thing that I noticed was like every time I share about principle, they get it in their heads, but they don't really know what it actually feels like. But then for all these people that came to the 7-day workshop to kind of like hear and also like for us to really practice what it means to really give love to other people, I think that's when they realized like, oh, so this is what it means when the divine principle says blah blah blah, or like blah blah blah, all that stuff. And yeah, they can really feel and learn about what love really means through like the lifestyle or like the relationships that we built through this 7-day workshop. And so there was a specific guest that I was taking care of. His name is Carlos. I don't know if you ever seen him ever in your life, but he's a guy that goes to campus. And right now he's in Florida doing massage therapy. But the first time I met this guy was during a club rush when we were inviting people to our club, and he just joined through that. And I think as time went on, this guy never received a one-on-one reading on the divine principle, and I asked him 5 times if he would like to learn throughout the past 2 years. And he said, I'm okay, I don't want to. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks for sharing. And it's interesting, but this guy keeps coming to all of our events. He came to our culture nights, he came to our 1-day DP workshops and all that stuff. And I feel like every time I've talked to this person and built this relationship with this person, by the end of the 2 years, I feel like he was really impacted by not the words, but mostly like the relationships that he built through the CARP DMV experience, which is why he really stayed for such a long time. And I would go out and eat lunch with him like a couple times and talk about life stuff. And I think one thing that he mentioned was that I guess there was this one point where his familial relationship is not the best, where he only lives with his mother, and I think the mother and the father didn't have such a great relationship. But I think during his time in CARP, I think one thing that he mentioned was he was determined to kind of bring his family together. And I feel like he was really inspired by that because through the relationships that he built through CARP and the genuine relationships that he built through there, I think he was really inspired to kind of be able to create that determination to bring his family together. And so, yeah, I think when I went to his house, or he invited me to his house once, with living with his mother, and it was really nice because she was giving us treats and desserts. It was really good, and but I got the chance to meet his mom, and she is the nicest person that I have ever met, or maybe not the nicest, but a great, nice person that I've met, and it's like, yeah, and eventually it came to a point where his mom and Carlos decided to come to our carp house, and they bought a bunch of Peruvian chicken and sauce and all that stuff and hanged out with us, even though we're a bunch of college students. And yeah, I thought that was really nice, and I think that's how I feel like that's how we kind of share our faith through the relationships that we built and inviting them through these small things like dinners and things like that. You can literally invite them to anything, like a culture night or whatever. And as long as you learn, if you're confident in who you are and share your faith through like loving that person and being kind to that person, then they will be inspired to kind of continue to join because they've never felt that kind of love before. Or maybe they haven't felt that love before. And so that's what I mean when we have the potential to offer something that the world is missing, which is God's love and joy. It's something that is profound, and I think being in this CARP experience, I feel like that is something that I felt the most out of all of my time throughout my CARP experience was love and joy, and also being able to give it at the same time. And I feel like all the people that were coming, the new people, they were all people who were touched by that love, who wanted to keep going or continue to stay because they felt such a longing relationship with the CARP members there. And so, yeah. And one of the guests there, I think he's a different religion. I feel like he was Muslim, but I don't remember. But he went to the Blue Dragon tour, and the 7-day workshop was like his first like 7-day workshop, and that was like the year before the Blue Dragon Korea trip. And eventually it came to the point where this guy came to the how long was it? 10 days? 10 days Korea trip in literally that in Cheonpyeong, and it's a lot to digest, but I think yeah. So the level of relationship that the person that was taking care of him built was really profound to kind of be able to invite him to the workshop. And so, yeah. Anyways, so the point is sharing your faith is being proud to share who you are, and it's all about the lifestyle that you learn through the principle. So, yeah. And another point is that throughout my time in Czech Republic, the biggest population of people that came to our events were culture nights, whether it's Korean culture night or Japanese culture night, because there was a lot of Japanese and Korean missionaries for some reason. And also, yeah, I think we just kept repeating Korean and Japanese culture nights. But it's interesting because the most amount of people that came was during those culture nights, and it's a great time, and I feel like everybody had a joyful time, and we ate a lot of food and all that stuff. But I think being able to build those relationships during that time, I felt like was really impactful for all the guests to understand what it means to be in like a familial relationship, which a lot of people don't feel nowadays. And so, yeah, and I think also sharing your faith, and I think in a lot of times today, people will not join something if they don't actually see it. So, like, religion throughout history, they've been abusing power a lot. And I think it's kind of like that's how history came about, where people were always looking for power or fame or money or something to kind of like make them feel more comfortable. And so I think religion was also a part of that history where people were deceived or like not being treated well. This is like a long time ago, like 1500s. Like they were hurt and all that stuff. So church is like something that is not so appealing to a lot of people because of like what the history has done to treat people. So, but I think the during those times, religion was something that was like misconceived, and I feel like it was done with the wrong purpose. And so I feel like we need to kind of offer some, and I feel like religion has such the potential to kind of show something to the world that people don't really feel often. And so, yeah, I think um, so we need to kind of be able to show that maybe not just religion, but people are good people in this movement, and I feel like people will feel like they can really see it if you show it. So, yeah. So that was my second point. Um, so my last point actually is sharing your faith through your passion. So everybody has different careers, and not everybody will be full-time church missionary, pastoral positions. Um, Only one of you will be in the future, probably for this church. But yes, like I said, not everybody will do full-time church work, and a lot of people have different careers and stuff like that. But I feel like sometimes there can be a conception that career or like pursuing what you want to do is like different from learning how to share your faith through. Our faith and career is like two completely separate things. I feel like that's the concept I get sometimes, even for me too. So I was kind of thinking about this, sharing your faith through your passion. How do you share your faith through um, at becoming an engineer or becoming a writer or becoming a food service person that works at an Italian restaurant? How can you share your faith through that passion? So, um, so I would like to introduce a quote. It's from the same book. This book is really good, guys. I feel like it's a hidden gem that I found 2 years ago. No, 4 years. I'm old. 6 years ago. Um, so I feel like this is a good book to read, guys. So it says you must reflect on the reason why witnessing activities have not been so fruitful. It is not because of someone else's shortcomings, but the problem lies within you. It's your fault, guys. If roses blossom beautifully on the roadside, all that walk past them will notice them, right? Isn't that right? Is that true or not? It's true. So this is how it is with everything. If you can give out beautiful scent, just like the blossoming roses on the road, then see what will unfold. Then those ladies walking past you will put on a big smile and try to fetch you, saying, "Oh, how lovely you are." So what this quote is saying is that if you're able to kind of, oh, here, this is how I took it. If you're able to shine through your passion in your career, then naturally people will be naturally attracted to you. Not physically, but spiritually. Maybe physically, if you're good looking and smell great. But not everyone smells great, so. Okay, so this third, what happened? There we go. All right. Okay, great. So your passion reflects what you are inside. That's the point I'm trying to get to. And through everything that we are passionate about, if we can follow and share our faith through our lifestyle, then we actually won't necessarily need to share directly about the words or principles that we teach. And so I feel like you can be the one to offer something people never felt before through the passions that you have. And so there is limitless ways to be able to kind of share your passion through, sorry, I mixed the words up. Share your faith through your passion. So, service projects, helping your own community through, picking up trash or growing trees or cutting invasive species. Um, I did that last 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. Um, or you can do it through your business or science, engineering, um, and it's limitless possible ways to be able to kind of share your faith, as long as you're passionate about it. If it's something you don't want to do, I advise you not to do it. And I feel like the fruits that you will show will be impactful, and people will know and understand that this organization or this person is a good person because they've been helping us throughout our life. And so, yeah, and I don't know. I feel like it's very simple to do something like this. Um, and so I guess some examples that I felt like that stick out and that I know is like, have you heard of the something without borders organizations? It's like so many different ones, like engineers without borders, doctors without borders. I think there's also writers without borders as well. And pretty much what they do is it's a nonprofit organization that creates projects and also goes to places that doesn't have like the things that they need and help them pretty much. And so engineers create projects that is beneficial for like the society over there, or doctors help heal people over there, and writers help uh, write news or something, help write over there. I don't know what they do, but and then there's also like the Peace Corps. There's also, I guess, part of this movement. They do this thing called the Sunhak Peace Prize, and pretty much it's like a Nobel Peace Prize, but for I actually don't know what it is exactly, but I know it's very helpful, and like it pretty much brings out people who are doing honorable like work for their country, and like kind of gives them awards or prizes or monetary awards for them to kind of continue their project. And also there's like the World Summit as well, where a lot of leaders in different countries come together to kind of share about how we can make peace within the world. And so these examples kind of show to the common people that this person or this organization is actually doing something for me, and I feel like they're the ones really impacting my life. So I really respect them and appreciate them for what they're doing, and I feel like that's how a lot of people will think, and I feel like through being able to show love through your passion, uh, through being able to do it for a higher purpose, will really create that kind of environment where people will feel love or like this lifestyle that you learn. And people will naturally be more curious about who you are. And it's kind of like a gateway for people to, ask, like, hey, like I noticed that you've been helping our community a lot. What do you do for a living and stuff like that? And why are you like this? And so, yeah. And I feel like there's also other things that also, it's not just like physically helping, but like it's like other ways that people will influence other people. And so some things can be like, sports. A lot of people like sports, right? I think so. But I think like the Peace Cup, have you heard of the Peace Cup in LA that they host at the LA Community Church? So there was a retired professional NBA player that decided to speak at that Peace Cup. And also Bishop Noel Jones, he's a pretty big mega church pastor. And like those people came up and were really inspired by the vision of Peace Cup, like what they really do. And I feel like, I think the vision was something around peace with sports. I think people were really inspired by that. And I think like the I heard that the Olympics will be hosted in LA in 2028. And I heard that the Olympic team was contacting the Peace Cup organizers about how they can integrate their program or their organization into the LA Olympics. Something like that. Don't take it word for word, but but what the point is, I think through being able to kind of show your passion through your sports or whatever, like that's how you can reach out to people and in a much quicker way than just like reaching out. Hey, my name's David. I'm doing a survey. You can reach out to so many people, but that's also a great way too. And also there's social media influencers. You know, there's like Precious. She has I think over 1 million something subscribers. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the goal. That's the goal. But she has a lot, and she uses that platform. From what I've noticed through seeing the stories on my Instagram when I'm off my social media detox, that these stories actually she asks a lot of questions about relationships and also like being aware of mental health. And but it's all about, I think it's all about fashion, right? Yes, so it's all it's all about fashion, but she uses that platform to really be able to share about these kind of awareness, which is such a great way to kind of share how we can love other people through social media. Or Jacob's doing his shirt company, fashion company on streetwear, and all his thing is about love and peace. And I feel inspired by that, and I'm sure his small followers of 400 or something like that will be inspired by that too. But it's only the beginning. He said he'll be a millionaire, so. Um, and yeah, and then I watched this guy. He does bodybuilding. His name is Noah Denzel. Does anyone know who Noah Denzel is? He's like a huge body. He has a huge body, but he grew up in South Africa, yeah, and he only had one mother, and he had a tough time in childhood, but now he kind of uses his social media to kind of show like what like tips and advice on life, and such a simple thing, but like he has like millions of subscribers that he can possibly influence them to really understand, this is how life should be and stuff like that, which is really amazing. So I've been sharing a lot of different examples, but personally, I am passionate about two things: environmental engineering and community. Those are two things I'm passionate about. And the first thing, environmental engineering, the reason why I wanted to do it was because, well, one thing was that Mother Moon says a lot about uh, protecting the environment. So I thought it was a vision that I could possibly contribute. But also at the same time, environmental engineering really provides a lot of resources for many different countries, or every country that is needed, like water and air. Everyone needs water and air to grow your plants or drink water or breathe. And I think that's very important in our community and society, and some countries don't have the best living conditions for it. And so I feel like through being able to provide clean water, clean air for people in communities wherever they are, I feel like that's something I can contribute to society. And I feel like hopefully I want to be in a nonprofit, but we'll see how that goes. And then also I care about community. And this is a picture of the Halloween party we had yesterday. And I think I'm passionate about community because that's where I felt a lot of familial love. Familial love, yeah. And it's something I want to bring on to everybody in general. And I feel like creating community is possible anywhere you go. So whether you're creating like an engineering community or I don't know, um, book club or something. It's like a small community where you can kind of express your familial love to them. And so, yeah. But I think one um, exceptional example is this cemetery. Does anyone know what the Yang Huajin Cemetery is? It is a cemetery of missionaries in Korea that were serving during the Korean War. And I think what's amazing about this is that all they weren't teaching. I was reading the booklet about what they did during their lifetime, and they were not sharing the word. They were not really teaching about anything, but all they were doing was helping all the Korean people who were suffering in the war, and decided to, build hospitals and build schools and help educate the Korean people. And pretty much all they did was serve their community. And what that came about was a cemetery. And also, what another thing came about from that was that people, I feel like a lot of the foundation from the Christianity in Korea was very profound because a lot of the missionaries came to Korea just to serve them during the Korean War or in other situations as well. And it's interesting to me that how Korean Christianity has such a profound history, and like a lot of Korean Christians are really strong in Christianity as well. And it grew really quickly in the past like 100 years. I don't know about now, but before it was growing really fast. But I think a part of the reason why they were growing so fast was because there was missionaries who didn't just teach and share the word. They were mainly offering them something that they couldn't really do it themselves. And I feel like they were really moved by what kind of legacy that they left throughout their life. And all of these missionaries, they passed away in Korea, so they never got the chance to go back home. So they pretty much spent their whole life serving the Korean people. And I think this is kind of like what the fruits came about, where a lot of people were really having a strong Christian background, because of like what the missionaries did for them. And so this is kind of like a testament of like, being able to serve a community that there's something is missing for them and they need, can really impact and leave a legacy that is that can be a long-term, like, I guess, solution in a sense. So that was pretty much what I wanted to share. And this is a message that I want to leave with everybody because I believe everybody has the potential to become the person that they want to become, to share your passions and love to other people. So this is my only message for today. If you didn't listen to anything else, I hope you can listen to this. You are the light of this world, guys. You are all amazing people that can really share and have the potential to be the light that you can become. And it can be through anything. You can even do it in the bathroom where someone's sitting next to you taking a dump. You can do it anywhere you want, guys. So that is my message for today. Thank you very much.